There's something psychologically different about people who dated in the 1980s. And neuroscientists are only now beginning to understand what made your romantic brain develop so differently. If you had to call someone's house phone and ask their parent if they were home, if you waited days to know if someone liked you back, your brain built neural pathways that most people under 35 simply don't have. This isn't nostalgia. This is about cognitive architecture. Let me show you what I mean. Picture this. You're 16 years old, standing in your kitchen holding the avocado green phone receiver, the spiral cord twisted around your finger. You can smell your mom's meatloaf in the oven, hear Entertainment Tonight from the living room. Your heart is hammering. You've been staring at the phone for 20 minutes. You're about to call Jamie, the person you've been obsessing over since third period biology, and you have no idea who's going to answer. You dial it, rings once, twice, 3 times. Hello. It's a man's voice, deep, authoritative. It's Jamie's dad. Your prepared speech evaporates. Hi, Mr. Robertson. This is Chris, from school. Is Jamie home? Pause. Hold on. You hear him yell, Jamie, phone, footsteps. Then finally, hello. It's Jamie's voice, and your stomach flips. This wasn't just awkward teenage fumbling. This was advanced social cognitive training. What psychologists call high-stakes interpersonal navigation was something you practiced dozens of times. You learned that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite terror. Your amygdala learned to fire, then settle, over and over until you developed what researchers call stress inoculation, the ability to function under social pressure that would paralyze someone who grew up editing their messages for 20 minutes before hitting send. You're 17, and you've just had the most incredible date. You went to see Back to the Future, shared popcorn, held hands. You kissed goodnight next to their mum's Buick. Perfect. They said, I'll call you. And now you're waiting. Saturday night becomes Sunday morning, becomes Monday. The phone sits silent. You see them at school. They smile, wave, but you're in different lunch periods. Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, still no call. This wasn't abandonment. It was developing what psychologists call uncertainty tolerance, the capacity to exist in ambiguity without creating false narratives. Modern teenagers know instantly if they're being ghosted. Read receipts, tell them. But you had to hold multiple possibilities. Maybe they're busy, maybe they lost your number, or maybe they're not interested. You learned to sit with not knowing, that discomfort. It was your prefrontal cortex building frustration tolerance that would serve you for decades. You're 18 and you're in love. You want to tell them, but I love you feels too huge to just say on the phone. So you're making them a mixtape. You're sitting on your bedroom floor, boombox in front of you, cassette collections scattered everywhere. This isn't hitting share on Spotify. This is architecture. You need the perfect opening song. You're listening to Purple Rain on your Walkman, cueing it to the exact moment, then scrambling to press play and record simultaneously. Perfect timing, no dead air. You're writing the track list in your best handwriting. 3 hours on something you'll hand them casually at school. This wasn't inefficiency. It was intentional, emotional curation, translating complex feelings into carefully chosen symbols. Today's dating involves constant low-effort communication, hundreds of texts, memes, reactions. But you learned to compress your entire emotional universe into 45 minutes of music. Neuroscientists know this kind of focused, creative, gift-giving activates the brain's reward centers differently than constant digital contact. You learned that effort equals meaning. That mixtape was a 3-hour declaration someone had to physically hold. You're 14 in third period English. The person 3 rows over keeps looking at you. Your friend taps your shoulder and passes you a folded piece of notebook paper. Your name's on the outside in handwriting you don't recognize. Your hands shake as you unfold it. Do you like me? Check yes or no. 2 boxes. Bottom says, from Chris. Your face is hot. You pull out your pen. If you check yes, there's no taking it back. This is evidence. It exists. It could be shown to other people. You check yes, fold it, pass it back. You watch it travel, row by row. Chris opens it, reads it, smiles, and looks at you. Everything is different. This wasn't juvenile. It was physical commitment, documentation, making decisions permanent and public. Modern dating involves hedged language, easy deletions, plausible deniability, but you learned to commit on paper. Researchers studying relationship formation found that people who experienced tangible declaration making develop stronger relationship security and clearer boundaries. You learned to be brave before you felt ready. That note, someone might still have it yellowed and creased, but permanent. You're 17 and you just got dumped. Not through text. You were at their house, on their porch, mosquitoes buzzing, and they said, "I think we should see other people." Your throat closed. You said okay, because what else could you say? You drove home blasting Bon Jovi, and now you're crying into your pillow. Here's the thing, you're going to see them. Tomorrow at school, 2 classes together, same lunch period. You can't block them. You can't mute them. They exist in your physical space 5 days a week, and you have to coexist with your heartbreak in the open. Monday morning, you see them at their locker. Your stomach drops. They nod. Hey, you say hey back and keep walking. This wasn't torture. It was developing emotional coexistence, capacity, processing pain while functioning in shared spaces with the source of that pain. Modern breakups allow complete digital separation, but you learned something harder, how to hold grief and still show up. You learned that feelings don't have to control behavior. You learned you can be heartbroken and still walk down a hallway with your head up. You learned to survive discomfort instead of avoiding it, and that made you emotionally bulletproof. You're 18, you've been dating for months, and you know you love this person. But saying I love you isn't something you can type out and deliberate over. You have to say it out loud, face to face, and wait for their response in real time. You're sitting in their car in your driveway. Engine off. Radio playing Chicago or Rio Speedwagon. You can see your breath fogging the windows. Your heart is pounding. You've rehearsed this 100 times, but now all your speeches dissolve. You look at them. I love you. Time stops. They're looking at you. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, an hour. You can't refresh the screen. You just sit in the terrifying space between speaking your truth and learning if it's reciprocated. Then they smile. That slow smile starting in their eyes. I love you, too. This wasn't just romance. It was high stakes, emotional disclosure, being vulnerable without safety nets. Modern declarations come with emojis and response time gauges, but you learned to leap without a net. Research on attachment shows people who learned face-to-face vulnerability developed deeper emotional bonds and greater relationship satisfaction. You learned love requires courage. Those 3 seconds of silence. They taught you uncertainty is survivable, and the best things require being brave first and safe second. So what makes you psychologically different? You developed a nervous system that tolerates not knowing. Modern daters have instant feedback read receipts, typing indicators. Your brain learned to function in ambiguity. You can wait without spiraling. This makes you better at long-term thinking, delayed gratification, trusting process over immediate results. You built social intelligence through high stakes, real-time interaction. Every phone call, every in-person rejection taught your brain to read tone, manage impressions, regulate emotions under pressure. You communicate with your whole self, voice, face, body language, not just fingertips. You learned effort equals meaning. When connection required work, making a mixtape, writing a note, showing up, you internalized that relationships are built, not just felt. Modern dating offers constant low-effort contact, but you learned depth requires investment. Most importantly, you learned real intimacy requires risk. Every time you called someone's house, wrote feelings on paper, said "I love you" out loud, you practiced vulnerability without deleting, editing, or hiding. That made you brave in a way that matters. If you dated in the 1980s before texting, you're part of a specific psychological cohort. You learned to hold contradictory truths. Love is both terrifying and worth it. Waiting is painful but valuable. Permanence is scary and beautiful. Showing up matters more than saying the right thing. Your anxiety wasn't malfunction, it was your brain learning courage. Your heartbreaks weren't failures, they were training. Your awkward phone calls weren't embarrassing, they were you becoming someone who could handle real intimacy. Was it perfect? No. You experienced rejection without screens. You had your heart broken in front of witnesses. You made mistakes you couldn't delete. But you also learned something increasingly rare: how to be fully present in vulnerability, how to commit without certainty, how to love out loud. You didn't just survive dating before texting. You were shaped by it into someone who knows the best connections require showing up, speaking up, and risking everything. That's not nostalgia. That's your superpower.